Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield preview pod. Back to do another preview. This time the opponent is Cardiff City. We go away to Wales on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. And to preview that one coming up, I am joined by Cy from the Cardiff World Podcast. Cy, how are you doing this early afternoon UK time, early morning stateside?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, mate. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, no problem.
Chatting about the game.
Yeah, not more than welcome anytime. Well, let's get into it. Summarize what happened yesterday, Cardiff.
It was better. Definitely better. They changed the system to three at the back, and it was definitely better. But again, late goals have cost us. I think 3 or 4 games in the last sort of 8 that we've conceded late goals that have cost us points. And ultimately, that's why we're down the bottom at the moment, because we're not able to get those away wins or pick up any points away from home, really. Just the odd draw now. It's frustrating, but it was better because Wednesday was awful. It was really, really bad. So I think yesterday was definitely an improvement. And then we did deserve to win. Just a mistake right at the end.
Yeah, it's where has it gone wrong? And I don't mean to say that in like an arrogant way, but or come off like that. But where has it gone wrong with Cardiff?
There's a few things. I think there's a big issue with the board and the owner, and there's a real lack of footballing structure above the manager. So a lot of the decisions are made by just businessmen. They're not football guys. They don't understand the inner workings of football as a sport and a team sport, and it's a massive issue because we keep making the same mistakes with managers and interim managers and things like that. In terms of the actual football, I think we had a pretty good transfer window in the summer. I think the biggest issue has been the striker that we brought in hasn't scored a goal, and he's been not just that, he's been very, very poor.
Really?
So whilst the majority of the other signings have gone all right, we can't score goals at the moment, and that's a big issue, to the point now where one of the youngsters from the academy system has been on the bench and coming on in recent games, and the striker that we signed on loan in the summer, Kanga, hasn't even been in the squad. He was back in the squad yesterday. He came on for 10 minutes, but yeah, that's the biggest issue is that we just haven't been able to create enough goals.
Is it so for Cardiff to avoid the drop this season? Is it strengthening even more in January, or where does it start to turn to where you're like, okay, we might be in a battle all the way to the end of the season, till May? Where, in your eyes, do Cardiff need to turn the corner so it gives you a vote of confidence to be like, okay, you know what, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna have to grind out some matches, but we're gonna end up being okay.
I think going into the season, I was really confident that we would do quite well, but a lot of that was dependent on this one striker replicating his form from previous clubs, which he hasn't done. I think if we can get a goal scorer in, which is not always the easiest thing to do in January, but there's a couple of lone strikers which I think we'll try and get in. Maybe recall, we've got a striker on loan as well, which we might recall. But ultimately, I think if we can get a goal scorer and then like a pacey winger, I think we'll be all right. Like I did another an EFL debate the other day, and I still there's a bit of optimism in there. I don't know, which is unusual for Cardiff fans anyway. But I still think we'll be all right, just about. But I do think we need to probably. I don't see us giving him any money to spend in January, just simply because he's only got a contract as a manager till the summer. So it would be, it'd be madness to give him a load of cash to spend. Yeah. But I think we'll get a few loans in, and I think one or two in the right place, and I think we'll be all right, because a lot of the signings which have come in the summer, they're doing pretty well. It's just that final third has not been up to the standard required.
Mm-hmm. Now, and I don't mean to have like a sour negative mood on this, but let's brighten it up a little bit. On this day, the 15th day of December in 2024, in your wildest dreams, or I guess in your mind, in 5 years, where do you want Cardiff? Do you want them in the Premier League, or do you want them competing towards the top end of the championship?
I mean, it's a strange one, because Cardiff as a city is a beautiful place. It's got all the facilities, the hotels, the infrastructure. We've got a fairly new stadium. We've got a brand new academy complex. We've got a new training ground coming as well. Like, all the things are in place where, if we had been run properly in the last 10 years, we should be an established Premier League club, in the lower end of the Premier League.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the owner is a bit of a, to put it politely, he's a bit of a maverick. Let's say that. So, like, it is what it is. I mean, ultimately, for me, the most important thing, I think, is I would like to see a change of ownership, but that's out of our hands. I would like to just see us put in the appropriate structure off the field, because I think things will change and move quite quickly after that. If you have football people making football decisions, everything else will kind of fall into place quite quickly. Like I said, I still don't think, even though the table doesn't reflect it, we're not that far off being like sort of top 10, maybe challenging for the playoffs with the right players. My worry is, we've got an interim manager till the summer. If he does well this year, then he might get the job. But if not, we're going to have another new manager next summer, which means that you've got to start again. Will he like these players? Will he want to, get some of them out, get some more in? And you're almost like starting again all the time. And it feels like that's been the cycle now for a while. Every 18 months to 2 years, we just have to start again.
Yeah.
Which is always going to be difficult. So, yeah, I think it's a tricky one, because I think everything is there. It's just getting the right people to make the right decisions, which unfortunately, as fans, is out of your hands, isn't it? It's not up to us to make those decisions.
That must be really frustrating, in a sense. In now, honestly, Sheffield United can relate, and now not in the same vein, but it's either you're a Premier League team or you're a championship team. My opinion, I would much rather us be a championship team, because I love this division.
Yeah, me too.
I never want to play in that godforsaken league again. But unfortunately, it looks like we're going to try and push for another promotion. But we're in that never-ending cycle of, we go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, go down, go down. And it's just like, either establish yourself or not. Just stay in the championship, get in the Premier League. I don't know. It's frustrating at times. Now, I sound like I'm first world problems over here griping, and you guys are in a relegation battle. Now to Saturday. How do you see it going at Cardiff?
Painfully. No, I think it's going to be difficult. Like, I'd be naive to say that it's going to be anything but that. I hope that he stays with this system change that he made yesterday. So in the summer, all through the preseason, Cardiff trained with 3 at the back and wing backs and a change of system. And then when the season started, the Errol Bullitt, who's now been sacked, just went back to the old formation. So that was puzzling in itself. But they changed to the 3 at the back yesterday with wing backs, and that it suits the players that we've got. All sort of suit that system, both defensively and offensively. So I hope he stays with that. If he stays with that, I think it'll be quite tight for a while. It's just, we all season have made silly mistakes. Even yesterday, the 2 goals that we conceded, they were mistakes. The keeper made a mistake. He came for a cross in the last minute, which he had no business going for. And even the first goal, he should have probably held on to it, and he didn't, and they scored the rebound. It's sorry. So, like when we played Burnley, for instance, obviously going to be a tough game. They beat us 5-0, but for the first 25 minutes, we were the better team.
Mm-hmm.
We made 3 catastrophic errors at the back, just gave the ball away in our own area. And then we were 3-0 down, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that we'd started well. And I think that's been a bit of the story of the season, is we'll do things well for a period, and then a silly mistake or someone not picking up their man, and then suddenly you find yourself behind, and it's all a bit frustrating. So I'd like to think that we can take the performance yesterday, even though there was the disappointment of the equaliser in the last minute. Ultimately, we did deserve to win the game. We were the better team. We created chances, and we played well. So I'd like to think if we could take that into the game, then we can try and progress. Cardiff's biggest problem at home is that we stand off teams in the first 20 minutes, and we let them get accustomed, and we let them get settled, and then they play their football. And I think that's really dangerous against the teams at the top of the league, because they're used to scoring goals, they're used to playing good football. So if you let them settle, they're going to do damage to you. Whereas I just think if we can be aggressive and maybe put you under a bit of pressure in the first few minutes, don't let you settle, and don't let you just get into your game, then that's probably the best way to go. But it's difficult at Cardiff at the moment, because the fans are not happy. The players are sort of up and down, and there's a bit of an atmosphere at the moment. There's protests being organised for the Swansea game after Christmas. So, like, there's a bit of an undercurrent of stuff off the pitch, which is, if things go, like if I was Sheffield United, I would say, right, let's try and get at Cardiff early in the first 10 minutes and try and get a goal really early doors, because then the crowd will get frustrated, the crowd will get annoyed, and the players will get more nervous, and that's when you'll see more mistakes. And I think the longer the game stays level, the better for Cardiff, because I think will grow into the game a bit. And we have got some decent players in different positions, particularly at home.
Yeah,
but it's whether we can cut out those mistakes.
No, I think it goes to similar how yesterday for Sheffield United went against Plymouth, albeit it was at home. But Plymouth, honestly, are unlucky that they didn't come away with at least a point. They missed a sitter point blank range in the middle of goal. And, I did a preview on Friday before that game, and they said, oh, you're going to play us off the park. You're going to hammer us. Sheffield United, it doesn't matter your league position in the table. We're not going to hammer anybody. And I think if they start like they did yesterday and let Cardiff have the ball for a majority of the first 20, 25 minutes, Cardiff could be in this, and we could be looking at a tight affair all the way through. That's why I only side this one. Sheffield United won, and it could be a 1-0 either way. If you get a lucky bounce, in a deflection or a looping goal that West Brom scored against Sheffield United last weekend, you could be that could be what spurns you on, and you could come away with all 3 points at home. But certainly it's going to be a bit harder, Sheffield United going away from home. But I don't know. I think this is a tighter game than everybody's going to build it up throughout the week. And, now we have 6 days to prepare for this one. And, everybody get rested and healthy. That's the biggest thing, is now after Saturday, it's festive fixture time where you go Saturday, Tuesday, with Boxing Day and the 29th, or you play the weekend of the 28th, 29th, and then you turn around the New Year's Day fixtures, and then you play the weekend of the 4th and 5th. So it's just this is where teams have to be at their, I guess, fittest of the season, because if you have any injury crisis, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. So it should be interesting to see how this unfolds next Saturday down in Cardiff. Sai, before we go, I have one question that I always ask every opposition view, and I will ask you this: your go-to match day beverage?
Ooh. So I don't drink anymore, so it's probably like a coffee or something now. But back in the day, it was always a nice pint of lager.
Oh, yeah.
Nice Heineken was normally my go-to.
Yeah.
But I don't drink no more, so boring.
Still nonetheless, it's
Lots of caffeine, mate. Monster and coffee is normally me these days, and nicotine.
Yeah.
So,
no, I hear
yeah,
you.
just on what you were saying though about like the championship. Like the championship is my favorite league in the world, and the reason I like it is because you can have Sheffield United at the top of the league and Cardiff at the bottom, but any team can beat any opponent on any day, and that's I love it. And like I do think our position is slightly false, and it's really interesting the way it goes on Saturday, because I could see if Sheffield United get an early goal, them kind of being quite comfortable. But then I could also see if Cardiff grow into the game or get an early goal, I could kind of see the fans galvanizing a little bit and the team really fighting for it. And then because that festive period can make or break your season. So for us, for instance, we're right down the bottom, we're struggling. If you go and win, say 3 out of your 4 games over Christmas, you fly up that table and you'll be up, 12th, 14th or whatever. And then suddenly you're looking at it and you're thinking, God, if we go on a bit of a run of wins and draws now, we could be in the playoffs by the end of the year. It's so tight this year as well. Like the gap is smaller than ever in terms of points.
It is. I mean, you're not wrong. This is a very tightly contested league, and as I often say when I talk to when I do these previews, this division has changed in 2 years since we were here, where it was us and Burnley that kind of walked away from everybody, and people are saying Leeds and Sheffield United, there's a little bit of a gap. I think we had a 3-point gap over Leeds, and I think a 5-point gap over Sunderland in third. But after that, I mean, you can take any one of the teams anywhere in the table and just slot them in there. That's how tight it is. One result jumps you up 3 or 4 spots in the table. So that's why I love this league, and I agree with you. I think it's the best league in the world, and I just wish it got more of the coverage over here as it deserves, because when you ask people about the championship over here, they don't even know what the hell that is. All right, Sai, before we get out of here, drop where the people can find the podcast and give it a listen.
Yeah. So Cardiff City World is on YouTube at Cardiff City World and on all social media. It's on Facebook and Twitter at Cardiff City World, and then obviously Apple and Spotify and all those things. And it's made by Ace Podcast Nation, so shout out to them as well. But yeah, it's everywhere. It's getting there. It's only been going about 10 months, but it's grown quick, and we're doing good.
Yeah, definitely give them a watch and a view and a listen. And until the next preview pod where we preview Burnley on Boxing Day, I will leave you with Up the Blades.